Hello, Facebook. Today is Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. I am Angela Hooper-Menifield, and this is your HR Moment from Menifield Associates. So, as we mentioned yesterday in our video, we are in the process of talking real briefly on a series of moments about documentation. Why is documentation so important? And yesterday we really kind of talked a little bit about the times when we should have documented and perhaps we didn't, and some of the ramifications of not having the documentation, and the need to just have clarity of expectations. And so I before I go into today's topic, which talks a little bit more about what type of things to document, I just thought it real interesting that I'd share that I was speaking to a fellow supervisor after my video yesterday, and it's interesting how in describing how saying something as simple as I need it next Wednesday could be misleading and not clear, and talking about that, their perception was if an employee didn't really understand or said they thought it was the next week, that it was kind of passive aggressive or an attempt to get over. And the coach in me, which of course you guys know I also do coaching, would ask me if that was your reaction to that yesterday, to just kind of sit with that, right? Because what is it that causes us to start off with the notion or perception when there is a misunderstanding that it's just not, a misunderstanding, a failure to communicate, excuse me, or it's like I said, oftentimes on the court shows, they'll say things like not having a meeting of the minds. So having that documentation and making it clear is really important. So today we're taking that a little further. Yesterday we talked about how I document. And I must tell you another thing. I went and bought a new notebook today. So here's the new one. And it's called The Daily. And it says it's a goal planner, but why did I buy it? Well, some of you may have heard me say that this incoming year I'll be the president of my BNI group. So October 1st is Tuesday? Yeah. And as a result of that, I'll be taking over this appointment. And I thought about it, where would I want to have all my notes in one location? And so while I have some of those bigger notebooks, I wanted something that could fit in my purse. So this is small enough that it fits in my purse, right? I like it that it has the strings so I can tab off the day. But there was a couple other things, and I spent quite a bit of time in the journal section. So just to kind of show you what it does is, at the very top, you can see it has where you can circle what day it is and put the date, what your action items are. If you have goals and notes, you can even talk about what kind of day you had today. And then on the back side, there's a place for more notes, right? Can you see that good? Let's see. There we go. Oh, wrong side. So this would be the back side. Right. So, the way BNI is set up, of course, we have weekly BNI meetings, but as the leadership team, we have to meet monthly. And then a smaller segment of our team will meet weekly. And so for me, having all of that in one place, because as I kind of mentioned, I take notes about various things, whether that's coaching clients, calls I host. And so for me, knowing that when I go to one notebook, everything associated with that will be there, that works for me. I don't like paper, but again, I've learned that writing things out, having the words flow through you is very good instead of just typing. And typing, of course, the heat from the keyboard and different things, it's a different energy, and I want to not have my energy drained from the energy of the device. Again, I may be quirky, but again, that's the coaching side of me. But I digress. So what types of things do we document? Oftentimes, people only document the bad. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, right? You see the comment cards on the table, and somehow, when, service is fine, it wasn't nothing to write home about, but it also wasn't terrible, we leave the comment card just right there. But let them, serve someone that came in after us, before us. Oh my gosh, we get that card and we let them have it, right? Or if that receipt gives us an option. Or let our food be bad, the person be rude, you pick whatever that thing is. We tend to really get proactive about sharing our thoughts and documenting such. And or of course on the other extreme, maybe not as much, but if it's excellent, like superb, 12 on a 10-point scale in our mind, we'll go ahead and let somebody know. We'll typically tell the person, but often we'll even have good intentions about sharing our displeasure. Sharing our pleasure, but oftentimes we don't. It's typically the middle of the road thing. I remember one time I was doing some independent contracting work for an organization, and the supervisor that I had at the time, I noticed that in the 6 months that I worked for the organization, he never called me until month 6 when I had a poor month in performance. And I remember saying to him, I just think it's really interesting. I've been here 6 months and I've never heard from you. And he was defensive. But the point for me was, typically, as the saying goes, it's the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. So the bottom feeders are the people who aren't performing. And then, the rock stars, as my old boss used to say, what do you used to call them? I can't even think, I just had a blank. But, the A-team, right? The blue chippers, that's what it was. And the people that are somehow in the middle oftentimes don't get that. So I tell you that quick analogy or story because oftentimes the people who come to work every day, mind their own business, do the right thing, they never get any feedback. And so how you can get yourself in the habit of doing that is just, maybe putting a date on your calendar and saying, once every other week, once a month, I'll sit down and kind of, have a page per person. Again, if you have it in order, starting out with it makes it a whole lot easier. And you just kind of share reflections, what worked well, what needs some improvement. So that way, if you do have a system where you do quarterly and biannual reviews, you will have over time collected information. But having said that, and this is not a performance measurement talk, don't wait till the 6-month or quarterly review to share that information. Tell people, immediately. They say feedback is best served warm, right? And so we want to tell people those things in a timely fashion. So what you want to do, you want to date it, give an illustration, so not opinion. Feedback is not, documentation is not opinion. Well, Angela, what do you mean by that? It's my opinion, but it should be based on relevant facts and information. So one of the things you don't write is, Angela has a bad attitude. Number one, what does that mean? What does bad attitude mean? Oh, if you know me, that's my pet peeve, right? Or one of many. But instead, if on today, again, we said today's the 25th, if a client called and I yelled at them, and my response, maybe what you write in the notes is on, Wednesday, September 25th, I observed Angela raising her voice at a client. That's different than bad attitude, because as the employee, I can't even do anything with bad attitude feedback. All that's going to do is just agitate me more. You think my attitude was bad before you told me that? Tell me I have a bad attitude, right? So what we want to do is give people, constructive feedback and then walk them through it. And that's where coaching comes in. And there's a difference between certified coaching, as in being a life coach or business coach, and coaching your team up, coaching your players up. And if you're sports people, you know what I mean. And so you ask the questions, like, hey, Angela, I noticed this happened. What could you have done differently? Or what can you do differently in the future the next time someone calls and's rude, to avoid raising your voice? So you still document the infraction. We come up with an action plan, but this is what the kind of things you would put in your documentation. And so you would have it and need it. But you put the good, as they say, the good, the bad, the ugly, the monotonous, the mundane, feedback. If you get client calls, peers tell you, man, I just want to let you know, I was working on this project and I called, Angela at 4:45 and she stayed late and helped me. That's something you would document. Because don't we want to encourage those types of behaviors? So the kinds of things you either want to eliminate or you want more of, those would be the types of things. And again, we go into great depth, detailed practice, scenarios, reviewing of documentation in the academy. But for this video, just to kind of talk a little bit about how you just get started. So one, you need a place to put it, right? So again, new presidency, new term, new book. Then what will I put? So my observations from those meetings. Who said what? What are the takeaways? If we have a meeting, when I come back to the next meeting, I'm going to go to those notes from the previous one to verify we did what we said we were going to do. And then after that, what's next? So that's the quick and dirty on what types of things to document. Again, just hitting, high level. We're not getting into the weeds because of course this is not the place. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm actually going to move over to LinkedIn today because I've been asked to, do more over there because sometimes I give advice on HR topics. So anyway, today's Wednesday, 25th of September. I'm Angela Hooper-Menifield, and this has been your HR Moment. Start to document, tell me about your experiences and how I can continue to help you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.